What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Stoic Context. Today we are going to react to another Kevin Samuels video. Before we get into it, make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'm going to be saving my commentary for the end of the video, so stay tuned for that.
Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm AJ.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I was just calling because I believe that it really depends on the situation when it comes to forgiveness. I feel like I have some situations where I personally need to forgive because.
What do you mean it depends on the situation?
Well, sometimes.
Well, first off, how old are you? How old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was just going to mention that sometimes one person is in the wrong. They may have cheated. Sometimes the other person is in the wrong. They may have not been ready or been rude or dismissive. So I know in my personal situation, I have been dismissive or maybe not taking people seriously that I wish I had. So overall, I think it's situational, but I think that it's really about the emotional IQ of the person and if they're ready to admit that everyone has their flaws and come to the table and talk about what they did and if they're ready to change.
So I still don't understand what you mean by it's situational.
Oh, so like for instance, if you're saying should Black men or Black women forgive first?
Yeah.
But I believe every situation is different.
Well, it can't be everything. See, that nuance thing doesn't work. It is what it is. Black men and Black women don't get along with one another. Who goes first?
I was saying my personal situation, I feel like I can go first because I've made some mistakes in certain situations.
I'm saying the macro situation. I'm talking about Black men or Black women. What side goes first? Macro.
Macro, I believe that women might have a little bit more emotional capacity to initiate it and might feel comfortable being vulnerable. And so if we have that capacity, we can go ahead and
can you just give me a straight answer?
Yeah, sorry, I thought I was.
See, oftentimes women think you're giving a straight answer, and men are just. When I say which go first, men or women, the answer is either men or women. It's not. Well, if I think women, if they have the capacity, they should just which side? Are you saying women should go first?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I think.
No, ma'am. No, let me explain something to you. Let me explain. Maybe this is different. See, miscommunication happens between us. I know what it is you think you're saying, but I'm telling you what most men hear. You can accept that. You can accept that. You can accept. You can accept that or not. I'm just telling you, this is one of the major complaints about men when they speak to women. You use too many words and too many nuance when you especially when you're being held down to a yes or no answer. On this channel, it happens all the time when I ask women a hardcore yes or no question. It's called deflection. You'll see people talking about Wonder Woman bracelets and the shields going up. You can go back and look in the chat room. But anyway, go ahead.
I believe women can go first.
So, in your personal life, do you forgive often?
No.
Why?
I would say often that I've done a lot of work in some of my personal relationships. And when you kind of meet sometimes your situation with tools that your therapist has given you, the other person might recognize that as bad behavior. So.
Okay, let me try this, AJ. Can you talk to me like I'm 4 years old?
Yeah.
Okay. I asked you, how's that work do you forgive in your personal relationship? You said no. And I said, why? Give me the answer like I'm a 4-year-old.
Sometimes I don't forgive because sometimes people don't deserve the forgiveness.
Thank you. That would serve you much better with men. So you don't forgive because they don't deserve the forgiveness. What do you mean?
I think that sometimes they don't appreciate when I come to the table with trying to really explain how I feel, and they recognize that as bad behavior instead of good communication.
They recognize when you try to come to the table and say how you feel, they say you're behaving bad?
Yeah, a lot of times people are of the opinion that when you bring up a situation, it's automatically negative and they don't want to heal it. And so they'll just put that negativity on you instead of trying to heal the situation.
Has this happened?
So
Has this
I
happened with
find
more than one
sometimes,
person?
sorry,
Has this happened with more than one person?
yes.
How many people would you say this has happened with?
Definitely a lot of my family members,
Mhm.
maybe 4 family members.
So, do you make any room, AJ, for the possibility maybe it's how you're giving it?
Oh, definitely. I've made room for that. And I feel like when I definitely sit there and talk in a very calm way, even with my therapist, it's the group therapy doesn't even sometimes go well. And I don't know what tools to use if none of the tools will work. And sometimes you just have to divest,
What does that mean?
like take your energy away when you are meeting someone with energy and they aren't coming back with the
Okay, human
reciprocity.
beings are pretty simple. Human beings are pretty simple. Um, and it sounds as though you've made us pretty complex when it comes down to interactions. We tend to treat people nice who treat us nice. We tend to treat people poorly who treat us poorly. If someone did wrong by you and they ask you to forgive them, do you forgive them?
If someone comes to me with a genuine apology, yes.
Ah,
But often that doesn't happen.
ah.
Do I often forgive? No, because often the apology doesn't happen.
See that? No, no. I said if someone does something wrong and they ask for your forgiveness, do you forgive them? And you said if they come to me with a genuine apology. Well, I just said they came to you and asked for forgiveness. That implies a genuine apology. But what you just said, see, what I'm hearing from you is you probably have a very high standard for how someone has to apologize and how you have to be communicated to. And you need to really feel like they really, really mean it.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
I feel like a sincere apology.
That's bullshit.
You're saying a sincere apology isn't a
No, I'm saying
prerequisite
you're
for
not
forgiveness?
God. What I'm saying is I've asked you several times to make it simple, but you're going to give it to me the way you want to give it to me. But when someone does the same thing to you, if someone comes to you and asks you for forgiveness, you want them to give it to you the way you want it given. But you don't even do that to me. So I said it's bullshit. It's hypocritical, man. That's why I said if you have had this situation happen with multiple people, you're the only common denominator.
Well, I would have to say that I've spoke to my therapist about this, and sometimes when you come from toxic situations, especially family,
Mm-hmm.
um,
How long you been with the therapist?
4 years.
And you're 33?
Yeah.
Mm. Well, unfortunately, the world does not owe me or you understanding. You've been with it for 4 years.
Yes.
Have you had any more success in your personal life?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like
I
cutting off some
mean,
of my family
no,
members
no,
was
no, no.
necessary.
When your personal, let me clarify. Your personal romantic life.
Yes.
Okay. So, are you in a long-term relationship right now?
No.
When was the last long-term romantic relationship you had?
3 years ago.
But you, but how can you say you've had more success in that?
More success in terms of healing, in terms
Well,
of when
no,
you
no,
said,
no, 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 no. See, that was I asked that question very simply.
no, I answered your previous question when you
I
just said,
I
as
know. Okay,
your personal
let me run
life.
it back. You've been with the therapist for 4 years, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to see if it's worked. And I said, well, you say you've been for 4 years. The world does not owe you and me understanding, but let's test it. Would you say you've had more success in your relationships? You said yes. And I said, let me clarify your personal romantic relationships. You said yes. And I said, okay, what's your longest Are you in a long-term romantic relationship? You said no. I said, how long ago was your last long-term relationship? You said 3 years. Then if you've only been with your therapist for 4 years and the last relationship you had was 3 years ago, you haven't had any success in personal romantic relationships post-therapy.
I wouldn't say that.
That's simple math, ma'am. That's not, there's no nuance right there.
I guess I don't really like judge the success in terms of length of the relationship.
Did I just? Okay. In your personal relationships with men, have they become easier?
Yes.
Have they become more productive?
Yes.
Where is the proof of that?
The proof of it is in my peace of mind. It's in the quality of men that I've dated. It's also within my mental health.
The proof would be if you had a fucking man. That's the only way to prove that, ma'am.
Well, I guess maybe it's time to stop because I don't know why you're cursing at me. I guess
Yeah, get the fuck off my phone.
Bye.
Cursing at you because you're a fucking mess. Guaranteed you she went to school for psychology. Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm okay. How old are you?
I'm 39.
Okay. What do you got for me?
I was just listening to the show. I do agree with a lot of your points, and for the
But
simple fact, I do agree with a lot of your points, and for the simple fact that um, it's your profession. So I think a lot of times when you ask the ladies questions, you have to take into consideration that you have perfected what you're saying before
okay.
you're actually getting on the platform.
So
So
you agree or you don't agree?
I do agree, but
But you don't
sometimes
like it.
as far as like the rating yourself like with the as a car and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
that I don't agree with.
Why not?
But
You
I
don't? I'm
to
serious.
rate it,
You don't? Why?
I guess because I never looked at myself comparing myself to a car.
Okay. Are
That
you
that
married?
I am married.
Okay. Well, how do men look at stuff though? Men, do you ladies, okay. Does it matter how you guys think about stuff or does it matter how we think about stuff?
In dating, and this is coming from listening to my husband, um, men do look at things different than women.
Right.
And
Right.
sometimes until you speak and talk with a man, we as women, we don't understand that. So even some of the things that my husband has said before, it resonates with what you're saying now.
Mm-hmm.
But we, being as though we're women, we don't have that view
So
until
how do you
you
think
hear.
men should look at women? Because I'm gonna be honest, I think women look at men the same way. You judge a man based upon his ability to fit a need. True or false?
Correct.
Okay. Then, but is a man ultimately purchasing, is a man buying a wife? Is a man buying a woman? What do you think?
Is he buying a woman?
Yeah, yeah. Is he putting the bill for it?
Yes, he's supposed to provide.
Okay, so that's another way of saying paying for.
Yes,
All right. When you pay for something, don't you compare and contrast to make sure you're getting your money's worth?
you do.
So, one of the things that most Americans know about is car purchase. Why is that so foreign to think of a woman like a car or a home or anything else of value that you would buy? Why is that so foreign?
I guess because women and men views are different. So
Okay.
I can understand and see how men would view us like that, like like you said, the Kelly Blue Book value. But as women, you know, we wouldn't have that same view as a man.
Right.
Although I do get what you're saying, um we do view our options and things that we buy and stuff like that. But I guess in a sense, until you said it like that, me as a woman, I never, compared or viewed myself to like a car.
Does it make
But when you start talking
does it
about,
make it sound like you're not as special? When you look at when you say a woman's like a man thinks of buying a car, a woman like purchasing a car, is that the problem?
I think that is
Okay.
when you say the car, but when you said the analogy about um me, even myself, or just people in general, when we're
Hmm.
purchasing things, how, we're comparing and things like that. So we do that.
Well,
So
I guess what a lot of men ultimately think asking is, it seems like women all want to be thought of as special. It's like you want to be special. It's like and and the reality is you're not. You're special to us, but you're not special. There are 3+ billion females on the planet. Everywhere you go, you see almost equal numbers of men and women. Are men special or are men pretty common? That's a fair, I mean, think about it. You don't, it ain't like, okay, look at it this way. What state do you live in? What state do you live in?
South Carolina.
Okay, South Carolina. Have you ever seen a Rolls Royce in your neighborhood? Have you seen a
No,
Lamborghini in your neighborhood? Do any of your neighbors own Rolls Royces, McLarens, Lamborghinis, or Ferraris? That's a yes or no question.
I see mostly
Uh,
BMWs
no, no,
and
no. I
Lexus.
said very specific high end. Rolls Royces, McLarens, Lamborghinis, or Ferraris. Do any of your neighbors own these cars?
No,
No. Why? Because those cars are $250,000 or more. But you know they exist. You've seen them in magazines and in movies and on TV, right? But they are
yes,
rare. So if you saw one, you would notice it. It would stand out because it's rare. True or false?
that's true.
All right, but then you see a Honda Accord, a Toyota Tercel. Those are far more common. Do they typically stand out no matter how nice they are?
No,
See, what I'm trying to show is women today have aggrandized yourselves. Women have put themselves on a pedestal so much to where y'all all think y'all are goddamn special. So where you're, this is when you call each other queens and this and that. And the problem with that is if human beings think something is special, have you ever go to a garage sale and see something that you know the value is one thing and somebody's trying to sell it for a hell of a lot more money? Huh?
Yes.
Yeah, did you pay that price?
No,
Why not? They wanted it. It was special. They could tell you why they got it, why they priced it that way.
because I have a choice,
Well, because you know the value ain't that much. The market
right?
decides. Go. All right. Thank you. You've been a good sport.
Here's what this conversation really highlights. There's a disconnect between how women view themselves and how men evaluate them. Women tend to define their worth based on internal feelings, while men assess value through outcomes, behavior, and consistency. That's not a personal attack, it's just how selection works. Men take on responsibility so they don't commit without first understanding what they're getting into. What Kevin explained about evaluation wasn't meant to degrade, it was meant to clarify. Men don't choose based on emotions, they choose based on logic, evidence, and what they know they can rely on long term. And when a woman resists being assessed or held to a standard, she's unknowingly disqualifying herself. A man who provides has the right to choose with discernment. The truth is, many women believe they're unique without understanding that value is determined by how others experience you. Feeling worthy is not the same as being chosen. What you believe about yourself has to align with how you show up in relationships, especially when someone else is expected to lead, protect, and provide. Kevin's perspective is uncomfortable, but it's rooted in accountability. He's not speaking to tear women down, but to show them what men are actually looking for. Ignoring this reality doesn't change it, it only delays the outcome. A woman who listens and adjusts gives herself a much better chance at partnership than one who clings to how things should be. So here's the takeaway: self perception isn't enough. If you want to be chosen, you need to bring more than belief, you need to bring alignment with reality. Was she actually listening to Kevin or just politely disagreeing? Let me know in the comments. And fellas, how many times have you heard the same disconnect in your conversations? Drop your thoughts below. This is where real dialogue starts. If you got value from today's breakdown, don't forget to like the video. It helps push real conversations back into the algorithm. Subscribe if you want more content that challenges emotional thinking with real-world logic. Let's keep the conversation grounded, not just loud. Until next time, stay sharp, stay accountable, and stay honest.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you
How old,
doing?
how old are you?
Actually, today's my birthday. I just turned 27.
27. All right. Is this shocking news for you?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, it is. I've been watching your show for a little bit.
What's shocking about it?
Just the fact that the high value men aren't as accessible as, like you said, portrayed on social media.
I mean, do me a favor. Could you be stationary? You kind of moving and you kind
Yeah,
of.
I'm sorry.
So you're 27. Do you have any kids?
No, I don't. I don't have any kids.
All right. So, uh, did, how many how many did you guys think were out there? That's kind of what I'm trying to understand. How many did y'all think were out there?
Um, I didn't know. I don't never put a number to it, I guess. I just always thought when you're growing up, you just assume like everybody's going for the same thing. So you just don't think people are gonna fall off. I guess the numbers are gonna fall off.
Do you own a car?
Yes, I do.
Do you own a home?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I bought my home when I was 23.
See, that's the thing. You guys have bought things that are a limited supply before. You are the amount of cars you have, your particular model, your style, your benefits, your options. Do they make hundreds of thousands of those, or are they limited?
They're limited. Housing is limited.
Right. So women don't think of men as a valuable commodity. You think of yourself as the value in the car transaction. You think of yourself as the buyer. In the home transaction,
Mhm.
you think of yourself as the person buying it versus there are plenty of houses for me to pick from. I'm the one with the money. Quite the opposite. There are plenty of you to pick from.
Yes.
125,000 men for 10 million women versus or 83 million. Uh, hold on. Device not connected. Luann, what do you have to add to that? Unmute yourself. Go ahead, Luann.
Yeah, when I was dating or when I was in the dating pool, as you said, I agree with what you said. We thought from our perspective that it does have a lot of people. But one thing I did, as you said before, when I decided to get married, I
Mhm,
I told my husband, excuse me, I
mhm.
really believe I actually pursued him and told him, okay, I dated with intention, as you said in your previous videos. It
Okay.
wasn't, I didn't just date casually. Once I decided that that's what I wanted for my life, I really actually pursued it with intention. And I guess that's what helped me get to this place now. And with the advice that you gave, it made me realize just how fortunate I am to have the husband I have. And I'm just happy and glad that I heard your
Well, that's what I want to
program.
hear. That's what I want to hear from more women. I want more women to who already have a man to start treating your man like if I don't have him, I got to go try to find somebody who's in his range who will accept me at my age and with my baggage and everything else. And maybe if I got kids and all the other stuff. That's why women think that I'll just divorce him and I'll get out here in the dating market and I'll just go find another. It's like, no, you better act like you like he's valuable. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming up. I think StreamYards is a little bit easier to use. Uh,
Yes, it is.
go
And
ahead.
one more thing I have to say before I leave.
Go ahead.
You have beside all the rest of it, you have me appreciating him and looking at him in this kind of a way. Now he asks me, so why are you looking at me like that? I'm like, because you're awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Some guy on YouTube told me to.
So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye. All right. So, what did you think? So you said before you just kind of thought that men were all plentiful. There are a lot of us out here
I guess
now.
because I grew up with with my dad, and he just seeing him with his wife, and them working as a team, and them just getting building together. I just
Mhm.
always had that assumption that that would be accessible to me. And now that I'm turning 27, I'm realizing that especially in the Black community, is just not something that's, I don't know. I just haven't found that expectation with dating. Like, it's a struggle to get guys of my age to like commit to building or commit to doing anything of
Well,
that nature,
well,
marriage or
hold on. Did you go to
anything.
college?
No, I didn't go to college.
Okay.
I
So,
actually went into business.
okay. So where did you expect to actually meet a man if you didn't go to college? Because one thing that I hear
At work.
a lot of black women don't go to college with the express intent of meeting a man, where that's what you should be going to. You should be going to college to get a degree and to meet a man. You got to sit down. You got to sit down.
Mm,
You got to sit down.
I'm sorry.
You're moving all
I'm
over
gonna
the
sit down.
place. You're on live TV.
It's the lighting. I'm
Okay, but you
sorry.
got to sit down. You're on live TV with thousands of people watching. You're moving around. Okay.
All right.
All right. So at 27, if you
Yes.
didn't go to college to find a man, it's about the numbers. There are tens of thousands of people in college where you can meet them. Okay, and not, if you don't meet them in college, where did you expect to meet them?
Well, I didn't go to college because I always wanted to be an entrepreneur and start my own
That's
business.
fine. That's fine. But,
Um,
but where did you expect to meet the man? Though? That's my question.
well, church, to be honest, I was raised in church. So
Okay.
I was raised, save yourself to marriage or all of the
Okay.
just church bylaws, I
Okay,
guess.
but let me
So,
ask you a
and
let me ask you a
when,
question. Hold on. Okay, that's
Mhm.
fine. But I was raised in church too, and ain't no men in church. Men are not in church these days.
Yes, these days, yes, they are not
Well,
in church. They are not
so,
in church.
what I'm saying is, think of finding a husband like a business. If you're saying the
Mhm.
primary place I expected to find men were in church, and if you look around and male attendance in church has dropped 40%, that's a problem. That's your only supply. Would it be fair to say that you really
I
never,
think,
would it be fair to say that you really have been passive
yeah,
when it comes to finding a man and you really
no,
never, hold on, been passive when it
okay,
comes to finding a man and really didn't think you would have to do anything? You would just have to be who you are and he would show up?
no, no.
Okay.
Like I said, I was raised very traditional, very traditional. My grandmother, she was raised in the 50s, like cook, clean, house, how to take up a house, a homemaker, all of those things. I was raised with
But
my
dear, but
father,
dear, but dear,
very
but dear,
traditional.
but dear, that's passive when it comes to finding a man.
Being aggressive about it, no. I was not trained to be, I guess, a
What
hunter. No,
what did
no.
I say? I say, would you think it's fair to say that you were passive when it comes to finding a man?
Yes.
That's a problem. You are moving as if the church was supposed to do, honestly, your job for you. And this is what I think a
Mm.
lot of black women need to learn. You have been taught to be passive when it comes to finding a very rare, very special thing. Where in
Mm.
business or where in the world does anyone get something that's rare and special by being passive?
Mm.
This is
Nowhere.
one of the
They don't
biggest
get it anywhere. So
this
that's
is
what, and I, honestly, I've been saying like, how does a woman like me? Because I understand the struggle. Like, how does a woman like me who's been raised this traditional way, raised to think these men think that, oh, you can find a man in church and those were the integrity and the values and everything.
what's the
You that's
question?
where you'll find your
What's the
match.
question? What's the
How
question?
do I guess, adapt to the times of now? How do I go about it? How do
Well,
I guess,
I'll answer
unlearn
it. I'll answer it.
the traditional way?
I'll
Because
answer
I've
it. I'll
this is
answer it.
mhm,
Can you hear me?
yeah, sorry.
So when I'm talking, you can hear me. You got to stop that. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. You're not on camera right now, but if you can hear me and you keep talking when I'm talking, why do that?
Maybe like I just heard you. Oh, my apologies.
Okay, I'm just saying. I'm asking, can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. How do you go about doing that? Well, this is how you do it. This is how you go about doing it. You said you went into business, right?
Yes.
You go about it just like that.
With a plan?
Well, you say I was raised to be this traditional woman. Well, ma'am, where I grew up, women were traditional. They weren't in business. So when you want something,
That's
but when you want something, you know how to act. And the truth is, and we got to get to the truth, you were not taught or you don't think of men as something that you have to do. A business is something that you have to do. If you don't do your business,
mhm,
it won't be successful. If I don't go to math class or English class, if I don't study, I don't do my homework, I don't make an A.
mhm.
A man is what? Oh, a man is just, I'm supposed to cook, clean, this, that. I don't have to do anything. I just got to be and he'll find me. Bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's not church either, because I grew up in the church. What's happened is a lot of things that black women used to do have been shunned.
Yeah, yeah,
When was the
I'm
last time you
struggling with
flirted with
that.
a man? When was the last time you flirted with a man? When was the last time you dropped your handkerchief? Well, then how the hell do you expect it to?
Again,
Okay, well,
that
okay, well that's the point. So these things don't have to be done because you're 27 years old, ma'am. Danger zone. You don't have any time to waste.
yeah, I've been watching your videos and I've been like, okay, I need to beef up my sexual marketplace value, but being
No,
raised so traditional and so
no,
modest, you
see,
don't really get taught to
well,
be like this, just,
you keep
I
going
don't know
back
what
to
the
how you
word
were
is.
raised. You keep going back to how you were raised, and I can't go with that. I'm gonna tell you why I can't go with that. Because how you were raised, where were you Christian?
Yes.
So how you were raised was not to be a businesswoman in this and in charge. So what I'm saying is that's what it's an excuse. At 27, it's an
I
excuse.
did I did want to say when you did say that and like being a traditional wife and staying at home, I wanted to say, what do you do for the women who didn't have those luxuries to be that way and had to go out in the workforce and had to provide for ourselves, and
Well, you didn't.
that's
You
the
had to go
situation
out.
that we're in.
You had to go out to work.
I mean, financially, yeah, that's how I felt, like to provide myself with the lifestyle that I
Well,
wanted and to
well,
elevate.
okay. Answer the question. You didn't. If you wanted to go out and get money,
I wanted a lifestyle, a certain
okay.
type
Well,
of lifestyle.
that's what you chose over a man. What I'm going to tell you is going to be hard to hear, and you need to hear it. The problem is,
Yeah,
non-black women were taught you need to go find a man. You went from high school to try to go have a lifestyle without a man, and that's what you got. You got some money and what you call a lifestyle, and you're alone and no skills. And you
yeah.
don't and you don't fix that because when you should have been finding a man, you were doing you. So I would have to sit down and talk to you and see what your relationship history is like, whatever. But the way it sounds to me is though, like many of our sisters, you're just completely kind of passive, and you know, I'm a nice person, and once he comes by, I'll be good, but I'm not even actively doing anything. You got to become active. And see, there is an aggressive and assertive while being feminine. Go watch the
Hmm.
movie Gone with the Wind. Scarlett O'Hara was a feminine woman, but she was certainly active and aggressive coming to finding a man. Okay, there you go. Peace out. See, I'm gonna tell you guys, one of the biggest things is a lot of our women get told this fantasy of that they don't have to do anything. They're just being a nice woman. No, being nice won't do it.
Exactly. To Kevin's point, a lot of these women do come into the show and they showcase every single time the inability or the inexperience they have with being able to properly identify exactly what men want and then also deliver on that, to deliver on said thing. We don't see it. And a lot of these women call in and they're pretty much expecting things to just happen, just fall in their laps. Is that really what life is now? Is that really how easy this world is now? Where you can sit there, not care about what that person wants, what they're going to offer, other than the things that you want, nothing else about them. They just want you to be able to have some money, share some of their same views, and then be able to go ahead and require the things that they so-called need. But let's talk about this woman. This woman said that she grew up very traditional. I don't believe that one bit. Immediately, Kevin's talking and she's over talking him. If she was raised in a household with a man, with a father, I don't think she was over talking him. especially being in a Christian household like she claimed, because people are very wishy-washy with the information they want to pull out and put in the forefront. Clearly, she wasn't raised to be traditional, just by her appearance coming on the camera, just by her conversation with Kevin and over-talking him. And then, of course, in her dating life and her experience, it's not showing. But she knows that if she says that she wants somebody traditional, essentially what she's asking for is a man that's going to be able to provide. So she's trying to slot herself into there. Ironic. But everyone, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. If you guys haven't, make sure you guys turn on post notification so you will be alerted when we upload more videos just like this one. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys like. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.